Okay, returning to this. I messed up because I completely forgot to build the solar panels and the accumulators. And because I forgot that I needed to belt all the materials in. So while I was touching up the factory in creative mode, I went ahead and dropped that blueprint in and ran my belts and set the order of the trains here to be proper. Notice these trains are now in the wrong stations, but that's okay. As they start filling in creative mode for the benchmarking, they will go out to fill and they will come back. Other things that I need to do here, I need to think about limiting my cargo. I noticed as I was benchmarking that these trains are going to pick up an entire train load of science. That's 8,000 science. 8,000 science at 900 per minute is, well, quite a lot. We may want to roll that back. 900 per minute, 5 minutes would be 4,500 science. I could go 4,000 science in these guys and have an every 5-minute run. The downside of having a big thing like that is we don't start until we've turned out a lot of science, which means the factory runs for a long time before we start seeing any output. And I think I want to run smaller quantities back and forth. Actually, thinking about this, every 2 minutes might be good. So let's go out here and start adjusting. So 2 minutes instead of 900 science, 1,800 science is 9 stacks. So we want to limit these guys to 9 stacks. Just like that. The other thing is that I need a fuel train here. And he's going to have a fuel source. Eventually, when I get a fuel source for him, he will fill up. But we do have it all set to deliver the fuel. And we have 5 logistic robots, which is more than enough for train fueling. So he will need to go to a fuel source. There's going to be many of these. Full cargo and inactivity, and then he's going to come back to where he is now, which is fuel for the research labs, empty cargo, and inactivity. Now I'm going to start leaving these on automatic, and they're going to be no pathing for me. And that's all right. No path means there is a station, but I can't get to it, which is these guys. This will save me from having to go through and find every train and turn on its automatic routing. It'd be nice if I could just turn those messages off entirely, wouldn't it? So we come down here. This is our science train. So as above, we only do 9. And he's on automatic. And he's sitting here waiting for stuff. That's good. These guys will pick up what they want to pick up and come back. These guys do not have any way to collect fuel. So I happen to have a fueler here. So we just need all of these to have fuel available. And I'm going to need to move that roboport over just a little bit to get these fueled. Just like that. And I'm going to need another roboport up here to get these fueled. we don't fuel in the parking lot. I have considered that in the past, but my diagonal parking lots don't allow for it. So I prefer just to arrange my overall thing so it doesn't require it. Oh, and fuel here. Okay, so now everybody's set up with fuel. I thought I just moved this. Oh, it's this guy. There. Can I get away with this? Okay, that covers everybody. Oh, and you know what? I left those creative mode options on. As long as I don't do too much, I'm okay here. So we cheated up a little bit there, a little bit of rail. Oh, I'm still in creative mode. Okay, I really have to watch what I'm doing to not invalidate this. We still don't have any creative parts down in this save. So here's that. What I may want to do is have the stations and such for the creative mode benchmarking available and set them up so I disable them when I'm not there, but I keep them in the save so I don't have to keep replopping them. Nope. If I do that, then do I either pay the price for my main base to build all of the benchmarking? And what I do is I build things out. Do I keep them? Actually, that might be a good marker for things that I should be retaining for benchmarks. Okay, so let's turn off the cheats. So we're going to be building these things honestly. And I saved a blueprint of the supply area for this guy. We'll go ahead and build him. Launchpad benchmarking. Now, what would be cool is if I could. Oh, yeah, this is. Okay, so what I'll have to do is when I build out these three parts, I will remove these stations. Yeah, okay. So I'll leave the benchmarking things in, and I will have to place the creative mode assets when I come back. That'll be things like this. So I'll use blueprints for that. But yeah, that means that I will be paying the cost in the builder base for building out the assets that I need to benchmark. That makes sense. It's just kind of like having your unit test part of your project. And as we get more and more towards the final base being built, then the injection stations like that will start going away. And if I forget to put down a infinite source of something, then it will, well, trains will arrive there and there'll be nothing to pick up, and they'll sit there saying, oh, I need stuff, I need stuff. And that would be easy enough for me to chase down, and I will only have to do that during benchmarking. I will think about this for a second. If I can disable those stations if they have no stuff available, that would be good. And doing that is not too hard. I can just grab from... Oh, and look at this. I want to do this anyway because if I've got no stuff, I need to come in here and I'm still in creative mode, so let's go ahead and do that. So, with this in read belt contents hold mode, this guy can say enable disable if, so we're going to enable if anything is greater than 0, just like that. Now, if I, oh, and this doesn't even have the, oh, right, it doesn't have the name set, right, I don't have to worry about that. We want train limit of 1, we'll set the names later. There we go. So something weird about putting these down with the robots. Anything greater than 0, read contents, hold, read contents, hold, anything greater than 0. So he is disabled because there's nothing there. And when I do that, he's now enabled. So now we can take this. There. Oh shit. Yeah, I lost all of those. Well, we can redo this. Here's the ordering. So batteries. I'm doing this because when you drop these down, sometimes they don't start, but if you copy that, they should. Oh, come on. I literally have to put this matter source down manually to get this to work. Oh, this is going to be a problem. There has to be a better way to blueprint an infinite source for a belt. Steel. And copper. Copper, come on. And blue chips. And this is green chips. There. So these get enabled when I finally get some stuff on the belt. We want to do something similar here. Notice the robots placed it and it didn't work. These are enabled. Okay. So with those enabled, now I need to set what they carry. So this is fuel. And so we have the train in the research park that will get its source somewhere else. And these two are manually stopped. We're going to go manually start them when we're all done. This is there. And this is light low density structures. This is another case of a bunch of fiddly work that I could probably do off camera, but I can't do everything off camera. I hope I don't have to redo too much of this every time I stop to benchmark. So I really would like that to be more of a automatic thing. Batteries. Where'd the batteries go? There they are. Okay. So those are all set and I can start them flowing. Now once I start these guys cranking, we will start seeing rockets and satellites being produced. The other thing I wanted to do was to only allow this to be inserted, only allow my satellites to be inserted if we didn't have any science here. So if we back up, if we fill this guy up and he bows off, once we get some science in here, we're going to pause until he comes back. No, that's not such a good thing. What we want to do is we want to insert if we have room. So that is, whoops, wrong one. Okay, so The red wire here is going to have the total amount of science I have available. White science is going to be 200 per. So this is 1,000, so it's 2,000 per row. Tell you what, I will insert the satellite if we have less than 2,000, less than, say, 4,000 science sitting here total. So if white science is less than 4,000, then we can start the next guy going. And I like symmetry, so instead of jumping across, I will come around. Now we're going to go ahead and allow the rocket to be built itself, but we just won't send in a new satellite. And auto launch with cargo scenes, once we get a satellite in, we'll let it rip. So if we don't have a satellite, it won't launch. Wouldn't do that anyway. But with auto launch turned on, once we insert the satellite, it will go ahead. So that's got this. Cutting off. What else did I have? Limit cargo in science trains. Provide fuel at all stations. Add a train for fuel to the research park. Did that. Provide a fuel source for research park when benchmarking, and do not load us out. Okay. So now we need to set the. We need to set up the other science. We can start this guy going right now. So go get some. And these guys can belly up to the bar, so they will be in automatic mode when they are ready to run. They will no path because there's one station that is servicing the other train, and then there's the other station which is out there. We don't need this second station anymore because we're going to keep the stations. See, now it says destination full, which is what we want to see. These guys we can get rid of. Okay, and we're just going to set these guys to automatic and let them figure out what to do. Okay, and these guys should also all start saying destination full. Also, these are pulling into the correct station now. So this guy is the green chip train, and he's pulled into the green chip station. So everybody's ready here. We're all empty because we're the second trains. The first trains are over getting stuff. And these stations are fairly slow loaders on purpose. The idea is that these are faster than we need. They're a blue belt each, so they're faster than we're actually going to use for what we're doing. But it's not a flash load, so we do need two trains. And if I've done this right, very shortly we should start seeing some rockets being built, and some satellites being inserted, and all sorts of other excitement. Okay, so we already have one rocket ready to go. He's not going to launch because he doesn't have a satellite. both ready to go. And there they're going to stay until they get their rocket cargo. And now we can start to build. Here comes the stuff. Copper and iron and steel. Now, blue chips only come this far. They go into the logistics network because blue chips are only used over in the satellite area. And we don't have any bots, so I forgot to put in bots. Flurry of bots coming out. That'll stabilize down to only needing 5 to 10 robots, but initially we have to get all the fuel set up and all the requests need to be fulfilled, so we get our backlogs going. So we did not get any batteries. So green chips and batteries are out. Well, here's batteries. They're coming. Oh, there they are. They're just late. Oh, right. We've got enough buffer space here that we'll be dumping entire trains into the buffer space. So these trains are just going to keep cycling and cycling and cycling for a while. In the real factor, we'll probably want to limit the buffer space. Once we figure out how much to buffer, I will set these, but that'll be something I tune later on. Okay, and at 1000x, oh, there's our first rocket. Remember, we do have creative mode still on. And we are now well into benchmarking. Yeah, so I think I'm going to end up, instead of making a separate benchmarking save, I will keep it in the main save and just turn creative modes on and off as I build, so I don't have to lose everything every time. And the commitment is that when we get to the end, when we've built everything out, as we build things out, we'll remove the infinite sources for each thing as we build it. Okay, so now we need to start building our sources for science and so on. And I'm going to go ahead and let the other thing keep going here for a while. Okay, so if this is going to be one of our stations, oops. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and leave cheat mode on when I'm building the benchmarking stuff. I am not that patient. here's our first train. This is going to be an infinite load of red science. We're not going to fuel here because we're going to get fuel at the other end. Trains are not going to stay here very long. And we need this guy, and we need it twice because we may need to patch it in later. Just like that. And now if I call this red, somebody now comes and picks it up. There we go. And the last one up here is going to be fuel. Let's set all these up before I start allowing it in. Military. And chemical. Probably should have done fuel at the bottom. Oh, these all need to have train limit 1. Not important now, but maybe important in the future. Green. And military. And chemical. Purple and yellow and fuel. Okay, so now everybody makes their way here. I believe I've already set these to proper. Yes, they're limited to 9 stacks. And we have enough robots here to move fuel. And we no longer need these guys. So if I leave this on high speed, this will preload all the science we can preload. And there he's preloading all the fuel he can preload. That's not right. Oh, I guess. Oh, haha. Get the schedule right. So now I'll do the same trick here that I did over there with disabling these stations. When there's no payload available. Enable, disable when anything is greater than 0. Oh, and I've got to do that individually because I don't want to wipe out the name. For now, those are all enabled. And because I'm using pure icons for this, there's no text to be a different color. I suppose I could put a lamp out there or something, but it doesn't matter. So it looks like we're all set here. I'm going to send them back one more time to make sure that everybody has a full train load. I thought I called my PAX guy to me. Why can't he move? Oh, I have missignaled something, haven't I? Yep, I need a signal here. So what we should see here is once he has left, we're going to get some science in these boxes and then it will stop launching. Let's watch that happen. it's almost full. At this point, they should have stopped. I have some wires here that I didn't expect. Am I conditionaling any of those guys? There. Yeah, I may have had some wires on some of the inserters here. So there's our count. See how this is now scooched way past 2K. And now our satellites are not being inserted. And we've got a rocket ready. So unless he's got a satellite from last time, he won't launch. See, rocket inventory, nothing. So we're going to hold here. Potentially both these rockets will wait until we're ready to send more science. And once we do, it'll kick off and it'll start running immediately, which is good. We want our factory to resume running as soon as there's space downstream. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this run until everything quiesces. And then we will commence a benchmark run. Ooh. From what I'm seeing here, we're looking pretty good. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to suddenly start researching void science. Which is this guy right here. It consumes all 7 kinds of science, and each lab will consume every 30 seconds. We can also get that kind by doing follower robot count. The ones we want to do in a mega factory for improving the factory are mining productivity and worker robot speed, which don't use military science. And if we had biters, we'd be doing all the other ones here, which also sometimes do it. Also, these are every 60 seconds, so we'll only be using half our labs. But void technology is where we're going next. Okay, so we are running at over 10x, which is not bad because there's a significant load from Creative Mod. So when we want to do the final benchmark run to measure UPS, we need to make sure that Creative Mod is off. Okay, now somebody is consuming coal somewhere. Who would be consuming coal? Smelters? We no longer have any coal-fired power. Plastic? We're not making anything. So somebody is consuming coal for power. I have a burner something in the system. Somewhere I have a burner something left who is being fed from coal. We'll have to chase that down.
He's not line of sight.
Okay, so we're ready to go here. We're going to turn on void technology. And here we go. Science consumption ramps up. Let's run up the game speed. So first science consumption ramps up. Somebody is using up big swaths of coal. So it will take a while before we have consumed enough science for our space science guy to come back and grab. But at this point, all of our science packs, there we go. Let's get away from that for a bit. So all of our science packs are now being consumed at about 900 per minute, which is correct because we are passing through that throttling mechanism. And we see here production. We've now ramped up accumulators and solar panels because now we're actually producing satellites. And now we want to make sure this just keeps on working. I'm going to hit pause and I'm going to wait until we have a good long baseline. So this is 1,000 science per minute at 1,000 UPS. Rather, 900 science per minute at 980 or to 990 UPS. Now, it's not really, because we're using creative mode to send in the materials, but this shows the last two stages are capable of handling this rate. And if I can put the debug screen up. So average, minimum, maximum. We're running 200 microseconds per update on the entities. Yeah, right now creative mod is accounting for half a millisecond every update. So what do we see here? So if we'll look at the last minute, this is going to be bouncing back and forth as our white science comes in and out of the picture. Over 10 minutes, we start seeing this kind of a pulse where we receive a bunch of space science and then we make another radar and so on, back and forth. And in an hour, we can see that we launch a bunch of rockets, and at that point, we have sent off a train full of white science, and we've built up a local set. And then we have to wait for that train to finish dumping, And when that train is empty, it comes back to start grabbing more from us. And this is the time that we are held off to throttle us back so that we hit 900 space science per minute being produced by our rocket. On the consumption side, we can see that over the course of the last hour, we have been sitting nice and solid. If we look at the last 10 hours, well, we haven't been running that long yet, but you can see how this is a sharp chunk of space science at the beginning as we fire both the rockets off at once, and then we continue onward, and we're done. We don't see that spike here. We do see that spike here, though. But yeah, ever since we started it up, it's been 901, 899, and so on. So this is essentially keeping that red lane completely saturated with each kind of science. And this has been going on for almost 4 hours of game time. So I am going to bring us back down to normal and stop research. So now my inclination is just to leave all this in place. And as we build more modules, what we do is we say, we choose something that I'm still bringing in. We actually would go for the sciences next, but let's say I decided that I wanted to place a factory for low density structures. I'd build the LDS, and then I would place its train stop, so we'd be using it, and then we could remove this. So stepwise, we are going to be replacing these stub factories with real factories. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and leave creative mode here. I will leave it enabled so that we don't have to rebuild all this crap every time. There we go. Oh, we are removing all the radar at this point. I kept looking at the UPS trying to figure out what was going on, and the radars, even just a couple of radars, is going to be important to us, so they're all gone now. So at this point we should be at homeostasis. We're still producing some stuff. Let's run the game speed up until we have completely drained everything we want to build. And here we go, 0 production. Oh, I found the coal. It turns out that the original starter base, not even the builder base, the starter base had a steam power unit, which was attached to our main power supply. So whenever night fell, the solar panels went away, and Factorio prefers to crank up steam power over drawing from accumulators. So it would crank up our old steam to 100%, and it would drag the rest of the energy out of the accumulators. So that's why we suddenly were using so much coal. Anyway, that's done. So we can bring this back to game speed 1. And I can kill this off, end this video, and when we come back, we'll start building the next science.